Plates ready? This is Food School, Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast. Want to feel amazing, love the way you look in the mirror, and perform your absolute best in the gym, at work, and in life? You're definitely in the right place. Food. It's you. It builds every single cell of you. And if there is one thing every human being must master, it's food. Because at the very least, eating, you do it every day, several times a day, every single day. You might as well get good at it. I'm your host, Shurina from createyourself.today, your personal nutritionist and plate watcher, your diet guide and explorer, your fat loss coach and food inspector. And just someone with a lot of passion and obsession and curiosity for healthy food, healthy diets, nutrition, optimized human performance, everything and absolutely anything you put in your grocery shopping cart, your fridge, on your plate, and in your mouth. It's my business. Food School, on a mission to help you eat better daily.
It's the last time I talk about food. It's the last time I talk about food.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast. How did you enjoy our last episode, the episode that you listened to yesterday? If you haven't, go back and listen to it because it was a great episode with Chris Dancy, the most connected man in the world. Like you can literally Google the most connected and he's gonna pop up his website and articles on Wired and his TED Talk and so many other things that Chris has done already. So an amazing human being, or how he likes to call himself, a mindful cyborg, and what he believes we all need to kind of get closer to being, and I totally agree with that. Anyhow, on today's episode, we are taking another case study. This friend of mine reached out to me on Instagram after I made this post about Carb-ups on ketogenic diet or low carb, high fat diet. So if you're not familiar with keto diet, then you probably haven't been listening to my podcast a lot. So I made a post about eating more carbohydrates on certain days of the week. So usually I do carb-ups, or basically when I'm eating more carbohydrates and less fat, once in 7 to 10 days. I do it for many reasons. It seems from all the cases, from all the people who try ketogenic diet long term and try to stay in ketosis and really being clean and precise with macros for a long time. So it seems that we start getting some either metabolic issues or issues with our hormones or issues with our energy going up and down, or just going down all the time, or just feeling off. A lot of people also experience this condition when they try to eat more carbohydrates. Their body becomes basically glucose intolerant. There is no such thing really, but basically what it means is your metabolism becomes unflexible and your body is not able to really metabolize glucose, and that is not necessarily a good thing. You want to keep your metabolism and every system actually in your body flexible to adjust to any sorts of changes or stressors that you might experience in life. And there is another issue or case. Keto might be, we might need to adjust ketogenic diet or low carb, high fat diet, or any diet really for men and for women. Women, we have different hormones, and because of our childbearing privilege, and a lot of women, are having kids or will have kids in the future. What I'm basically trying to say is our hormones are different. And to maintain that balance, it seems from all the evidence, again, and from all the people that I've worked with and all the studies and articles about anecdotal cases that I read, it seems that women are more sensitive to carbohydrates. Like for me personally, my cycle stops if I'm continuously on a very low carb diet. To give you an idea, is less than 50 grams of net carbs, my body starts to freak out. Like I might even retain more water, more fat, and I won't feel as energetic. Also, yeah, my energy goes all over the place when I go really low with carbs for many days in a row. Many things are happening to my body when I'm not eating. I'm eating very low carbohydrate diet. And also what I notice is if I don't do those Carb-ups, when I eat somewhere around 100 grams of net carbohydrates, if I don't do those days, like my gym performance starts suffering, I don't run as fast, I don't lift as heavy and as energetically as I usually do. My brain doesn't work that well. You know what would happen when I would be on a low carb diet for a long period of time? I would work really, really fine till like 4 or 5 p.m. and then something like switches the light off and my brain wouldn't function. It would be really hard for me to think or make any complex decisions, and my mood also would go down to the floor, and I would not be able to basically do anything productive after 4 or 5 p.m. And it's pretty early even for me when I go to bed like 9:30 p.m. So I, felt that something needed to be fixed. And as soon as I raised my carbohydrates just a little bit, 50 grams of net carbs, doing Carb-ups when I go to 100 net carbs, everything just went to normal. My hormones, my period, my energy levels, my optimism, my positivity, everything went back to normal. And plus I started to eat more nutritionally balanced diet. I added more variety, more vegetables, more colors back into my diet, and everything just started to work really, really well. And that's why I really recommend to a lot of people cycle out of this very low carbohydrate diet. And plus, guys, you want to understand, like, keto diet, ketosis, being on a very low carb diet, when your body is burning fat for most of its needs, using glucose mostly for the brain, because brain still needs somewhere around 30 grams of glucose per day, or not 30 grams necessarily, but 30% of its energy your brain needs from glucose. Your body can make that glucose out of non-glucose sources. But the point is, this state is similar to fasting, and you don't want to be necessarily be all the time in that fasted states. Like any stress, fasting is a stress, and we don't want to put our body in the state of stress for like all the time, period. We want to cycle out of it, not with some junk food, but with some nutrient dense carbohydrates. And even though we don't have any data that we actually need more carbohydrates or fiber in our diet, like there is no biological need that was registered to this point, it still seems that we do better when we introduce that kind of variety into our diet on a regular basis. Especially it seems to be beneficial for women. I'm yet to see a woman who thrives on a ketogenic diet like all the time and everything works fine, except for women who are already in their menopausal stage of life. So for those women, ketogenic diet with a lot of vegetables, a lot of green and colorful vegetables might not necessarily have to be very high in carbohydrates or high in carbohydrates. For those women, that might still work. But anyhow, so this friend of mine, he reached out on Instagram and he said that he saw this post about Carb-ups on my Instagram. And so he wanted to reach out because he's been doing keto for 2 years consistently without any high carbohydrate day, except for the days that he did often when he would go to 50, 60 net grams of carbs. Net carbs are carbs without the fiber. So that is actually a pretty good spot, especially for a lot of guys. But also with the athletes I worked with, people who do ketogenic diet on a regular basis, even like hardcore keto people, keto guys, they all still do those higher carbohydrate days and dates, high carbohydrate dates. Yeah, that's a good concept too. Anyhow, they still do those days with higher carbohydrate content, and their hormones, their testosterone levels specifically, their performance in the gym and their body composition seem to improve. It seems that our body indeed thrives on that flexibility and that variety. And again, I'm not saying you need to eat pasta and rice and eat tons of carbohydrates. The window of that change is actually really small to make a difference for your body. And it's different depending on how active you are, whether you're a guy or a woman. For me, again, usually I stay somewhere around 50 grams of net carbohydrates per day. And then on my high carbohydrate days, I go to like 100 grams. And those come from more vegetables and some berries, maybe something like sweet potato. So he reached out to me, my friend, because he was concerned that he might not be doing a really good job when it comes to his long-term health and performance. Plus, he wants to get leaner. He's already in pretty good shape, and you can see his abs, but he'd like to get leaner. It's one of those guys who wants to get the edge, and that is a hard job on any diet, not just keto diet. And keto diet will not just make you into a lean motherfucker, but by default, you still have to do work. And he doesn't seem to have a lot of problem. He says that his gym performance goes up and down, but honestly, it goes up and down for everyone. Like, human body is not a machine, so it's totally normal. And it seems that when he added electrolytes like potassium, like magnesium, like calcium, that this issue of a lot of energy swings went away. And he's gonna check his testosterone levels soon, and he's just asking what I would do in his place. Like, would I still do carb-ups? Well, probably first I would test my testosterone and all my nutritional status. So basically, whatever test you're doing, whatever is available, like the most precise and most detailed, I would check for all the nutrient status as precise as possible. So are you nutrient deficient or not? Because for a lot of people who are on keto, the diet seems to be pretty mundane and very it doesn't have a lot of variety, and so a lot of foods are also not that rich in nutrients, and so there might be a possibility of deficient in key nutrients. So I would definitely check for that. I would definitely check my hormones, and after that I would see how I should adjust the diet based on the results that I get. Because if you just start improving something for no reason, then it's going to be really hard to track changes in how you feel and how you perform later on. So I would probably do the test first and then start adjusting my diets, and there is no immediate concern right now. And he also shared with me his diet, and it's basically some fish, some avocados, some flax seeds, pancakes, some vegetables like asparagus, and it seems pretty good, to be honest. But of course, I would make sure that he is getting enough omega-3 fatty acids in the form of fatty fish. So it's not just fish, but things like sardines and herring and salmon that are not only rich in omega-3s, but also super rich in some electrolytes like calcium, like potassium, like magnesium, also, iodine. There is some iron in some of the fish. So I would definitely add variety in fish. I would definitely add like right now, I'm really into cod liver that has a lot of vitamin A and vitamin D, and also cod raw, basically cod fish eggs. And a lot of people, when you talk about, like caviar or fish eggs, they think about salmon raw and salmon eggs, and they think that it's super expensive. But for example, if you take cod raw, cod fish eggs, those are not that expensive at all, and they're super rich in nutrients like choline, like selenium, like B12 vitamin. There are so many. It's really nutrient dense foods. It's like a super food in animal foods world. So I would definitely add something like fish raw. I would definitely, if you're okay with eating eggs, I would definitely eat pastured eggs because they're also super rich in nutrients. Flaxseed are super rich in nutrients, and especially in minerals and fiber also. So I'm super happy that he's doing that. But also, of course, I would include more vegetable variety, especially those vegetables with red and orange color, especially something like bell peppers. I'm also huge on bell peppers these days because it has somewhere around 3 times the amount of vitamin C you need, and also carotenoids, this red color. It actually correlates with certain nutrients. I would also probably add tomatoes that are high in lycopene, and actually cooked tomatoes will give you more lycopene than raw ones. Plus, again, more fiber, a little bit more carbohydrates. So I would add more variety. And for the future, I would definitely incorporate more higher carbohydrate days. Maybe once in 7 days, maybe once in 10 days. And again, it doesn't mean you have to go like rice, you have to eat rice and pasta. No, just eat more vegetables, eat maybe sweet potato, eat more berries that are super rich in nutrients, especially things like raspberries or some wild blueberries or some other wild berries that you can find locally in many areas of the world. It also will help you to get unstuck with your weight loss, fat loss. A lot of times what would happen to me and to a lot of my clients on keto and low carb diets, when you do the same routine, your body gets stuck a lot of times. Sometimes it's because your body still experiences, again, that stress because of constant low carbohydrate restriction diet. So to get your body out of that stress and to lower your cortisol levels, that also might be the reason why you're holding water or some weight. So to change all of that, you incorporate higher carbohydrate days, and a lot of times what you would experience, like you lose a lot of water right away, and a lot of actually fat burning gonna start going faster. So if you're going through that weight loss, fat loss plateau, you also might want to incorporate those days. So I would definitely do a carb up once in 7 to 10 days, where I would really load up on variety of vegetables, like add as much colors as possible, like literally a lot of colors from those lower and a little bit higher carbohydrate vegetables, and maybe again some berries. I love berries, like wild blueberries, a lot of like wild berries. Raspberries are also super rich in antioxidants and also very low carb and also higher in fiber. What else? I would probably also, for a lot of keto folks out there, I would try to do a few days without any protein, any animal protein. That will also help you to work on your longevity, because high protein diets seem to work against prolonging our life. And a lot of guys, especially on keto diet, they tend to eat a lot of protein. Not necessarily it's going to cause any problem, but from all the evidence, it seems that higher animal protein diets will it's not the most beneficial thing to do for your longevity. So switching to, let's say, plant-based keto for maybe once in a week might be also a beneficial thing for your long-term health. And it might look like, just eating more nuts and seeds, more vegetables cooked in olive oil, and you can make this day low calorie and maybe higher in carbohydrates. So that might be another great thing for you to try. And also understand that the last point, probably fats as a nutrients takes less energy to turn into energy. And so if you eat the same amount of calories in fat and in carbohydrates, actually your body will get more calories from fat. So when you just switch for, let's say, a day, a week from fats to whole food carbohydrates, your body's metabolism can speed up and you can actually get into calorie deficit easier, or just consume less calories but more fiber. And all of that can also help you to start burning your own fat more efficiently. Like the conclusion is, guys, our bodies thrive when we have variety. Now, that variety has to be something that promotes our health, not takes away our health. Like, for example, eating a bunch of processed sugar and processed foods. Like, that's not gonna do anything for you, except for maybe if you're feeling really mentally stressed and you feel like you need that, even though it's not the ideal solution, you might need to do that to switch to slower transition to something better. But anyhow, variety of nutrients, variety of foods, adding, sometimes more carbohydrates, it's not a crime, and your body might actually really enjoy it and love it. There is a reason that most of the world outside, most of the foods are carbohydrate rich, and it might be that we still need those carbohydrates for some purpose. It's also proven to boost immune system when you have those carbohydrate-rich days. And especially, guys, it's soon it's going to be winter season in the northern hemisphere, and for your immune system, it seems that your immune system works better when you have higher carbohydrates from healthy sources. So another trick or hack that I'm using, if I feel like I'm getting sick or I'm getting something, like I don't get sick anymore, but sometimes I feel like my body is coming down with something. So what I do, I increase my carbohydrates for the next day or two, and I load up on those antioxidant and phytochemicals rich foods, and my body deals with whatever was coming much easier and faster, and so I never really get sick. But what would happen before, if I didn't do that, I would actually get sick and had to go through more difficult process of recovery. So that's another thing, your immune system and your gut health. Your gut health also thrives on variety, and your gut loves fiber. Like a lot of people on a more animal products-based diet say that we don't need fiber, but all people in blue zones, all centenarians, or people who live to 100 years old and more, they all consume a lot of fiber-rich foods. So I'm not sure how it works. Nobody is. But it seems that fiber is still really good for you. And I don't know about a lot of people, like we usually don't share those details, but I'm much more regular and faster with it when I have a lot of fiber in my diet. And so I usually do have a lot of fiber in my diet. And by the way, guys, a great way to increase your fiber on a low carbohydrate diet is add flax seeds into your diet. What I usually would do, I would have like an ounce or a couple of ounces of whole flax seeds, and then I would crush them in a coffee grinder or a spice grinder, and I would add that powder while cooking my other food, and I would mix it with my vegetables or my fish and my meats, and that's how I'm gonna increase the fiber content naturally in my foods. And the reason also why I prefer to buy flax seeds whole and crush them is because flax seeds have a lot of omega-3s and omega-6s, land omega-3s. They're a little bit different, but those fats are really unstable once you take them out of whole food or once you crush flax seeds. That's why I always recommend to you guys to buy whole flax seeds and crush them yourself in a coffee grinder, or sometimes they call it also spice grinder. So you buy your flax seeds whole, you crush them, and then you eat them. Sometimes I just crush them and eat them with my tea or coffee or add them to my food. And so to sum up, do you need to do carb-ups on ketogenic diet or low carb diet? If you're a woman, almost certainly 99%, I'm sure of it. Like, I'm 99% certain you must do that for your optimal hormonal health. If you're a guy and you don't have any problems and you are truly on a keto diet with a very low carb content for like years and you don't experience any negative effects, and you checked your hormones and you checked your nutritional status and you're not deficient in anything, then, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Who am I to tell you what's best for you? But before making final decision, just check your stats, check your testosterone level, check your thyroid, also hormone. It's a great thing to do for guys and for women. Check your nutritional status for major nutrients, like vitamin D, or how's your iron, or how's your omega-3 fatty acid status. Just check all of that and then make an educated, data-based decision. Besides that, for all of you guys, I would incorporate as much variety of foods as possible, foods that work for your body, that are optimal for your genetics and your gut microbiome, and all of that you can now test more or less, but you can also feel it. Like, if you eat the food and you don't feel that good after eating it consistently, then stop eating that food. As simple as that. Just be mindful about that. Mindfulness will save you a lot of health troubles, guys. And actually, by the way, we talked a lot about mindfulness when it comes to eating with Chris Dancy, the most connected man in the world. That conversation you can tune into. It's our episode before this one. So tune in, enjoy it, and become a mindful cyborg who makes decisions wisely based on some data and on just feeling it. That's a great indication of how something works for you or doesn't work for you too. But that's it for today, guys. So, episode on carb-ups. Should you do it or should you not do it, and how to do it? So, if you have any questions about carb-ups or about any related or unrelated topic, always feel free to reach out. Use the form in the links in the show notes to ask your question that I will cover on the episode of the podcast. And as usual, till next time, eat better daily.